and welcome to the Blancpain GT Series Asia. I'm Renai Matu, and here we are at Suzuka Circuit in Japan. This iconic track setting the scene for round 6 of the championship. Now, it's been really exciting coming into this weekend. Only 5 points separated the top 3 positions in the Drivers' Championship and also the Team Championship. Very, very close at the top. After race 1 yesterday, the drivers have well and truly had a taste of this track. They've all had a go at it, and we've seen a really great drive from Marchi Lee and Sean Tong. They're coming through for the maiden win, their maiden win in this series. Now, they'll have to suffer a drive-through penalty, not a drive-through penalty, sorry, a success penalty today. So let's see how they do it all over again. I have also got to tell you about the GT4 category. The GT4 category, Craft Bamboo Racing, they are leading the series at the top. I'm going to chase down some of those drivers because, as you can see, the first drops of rain have just started coming down, so we could have markedly different conditions out there for the drivers. Let's see how they're feeling. In the meantime, I'm joined in commentary by Bruce Jones. Jones, how are you doing?
Thanks very much, Renai. It doesn't look too bad out there, but that's fine for me to say because I'm sitting in a commentary booth. We can see the umbrellas up on the grid. Very different conditions. We've had several races on the track this morning. The rain has hardly touched the ground, but you can see the little damp patches, and all drivers know if you go out over the curbing, that's where the water collects. It's been declared a wet race, however, so all the teams will be on their tiptoes ready to respond to that. And just to throw into the mix, overnight we had seismic tremors, well, effectively at breakfast time today. Another one about an hour ago here at Suzuka, but only little rumbles. The main rumbling, of course, will be happening out on the circuit, and certainly for those who've never raced at Suzuka before, it is a fantastic circuit. Look at that wonderful sweep from the first and second turns up through the S's. That's the first half of the S's. And what Suzuka provides, as well as the challenge of the corners in which the drivers really eke out all the performance from their Pirelli tyres, is gradient change as well, which makes this such a classic circuit. And certainly the reckoning from yesterday's racing was it's a track that provides brilliant, brilliant racing. Yes, we had Marchi Lee and Sean Tong taking victory, but behind them it was so tight in the top 10, and it was changing all the way to the final dash to the line. Add to the mix today that little bit of rain. It's going to be really interesting today, and the best place to be starting, of course, is from pole position. And 2 races in a row, that honour has gone to Alessio Picariello.
Okay, Alessio, great to be starting on pole position, but the rain, it's coming down. Are you worried about that?
Well, it's the same for everyone, so not really, but I love this kind of mixed conditions, but it's always a headache for the driver and the team to find the right tires. So it's going to be interesting, especially on this track. It's quite challenging, so yeah, let's see.
It's a track that you like. I can see your tires are out ready. What are your expectations for this race?
My expectation is to pull out to the front to make as big a gap as I can for my teammate for the second stint. So let's see, but I think we have a good chance to win our class and maybe an overall podium.
Okay, good luck today. Bruce, back to you in the commentary booth.
Thank you very much, Renai, down there. Just slightly damp, but Alessio Picariello, Belgian driver, done a lot of his racing over here in the Far East, so he knows this circuit very well, and he's very much the quick partner in that pairing with Jeffrey Lee. So he's starting the J-Fly Audi on pole position. Alongside him, he's got another Audi. In fact, it started the outside of the front row yesterday, and that is OD Racing Team with Mitch Gilbert, the starter today. Of course, what we have in Blancpain GT Series Asia, as in the main Blancpain series in Europe, is the fact that driver 1 starts race 1 before handing over to driver 2. And in race 2, that honour is flipped over. So it's the number 2 driver in each car. In most cases, that's the more professional, the more experienced driver. So we've got the quick guns in to start this race before handing over to their teammates. And really the answer there is to have a really, really well-balanced crew. One of the crews down there, the Group M Mercedes, some of the favourites for the fans in the grandstand, going really well in the championship. Hunter Abbott is down with Renai.
Okay, Hunter, what are your expectations for this race?
Well, the good news is we haven't got a 10-second success penalty like we did yesterday, so that's going to be nice. I don't know. The conditions are changeable. It's just started to rain a bit. Started to see what the race holds.
Yeah, does that make it more exciting for you?
Well, it's the same for everybody, but I mean, I've done a bit of running in the wet at Sepang, so I kind of know what to expect. And not here, but the tarmac's pretty coarse, so it should be quite grippy, hopefully, in the wet. So we'll see. Yeah.
So we just mentioned Sepang. We've had 3 different circuits. They're all really different. How's the Mercedes doing on this one?
This one we've not been so strong. to be honest, with the balance of performance, straight line speed isn't so great for us in comparison to the Audis, the Lamborghinis, Ferraris, etc. And with the big straights and the sort of fast corners here, this does actually go against us. So yeah, if you look at qualifying for this race, there's 8 Audis in the top 10 and 1 Mercedes, which is in 5th. So it kind of tells a story there, doesn't it?
Okay. All the best for you today.
Okay, thank you.
Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you very much, Renai. Good to hear from Hunter Abbott, who, as Renai mentioned, oh yeah, look, the rain is falling more heavily now. He's had 3 races and he's got his 3rd co-driver. He had Raffaele Marciello at Sepang, then Maxi Buch. This weekend, Maxi Goertz. And so he does his bit and the rest do theirs. But I think that'll be strong through the race, certainly without a driver penalty. Now you can see the rain sitting on the roof of the car on the outside of the front row with Mitch Gilbert on board. That's the Audi Racing Audi. Audi's very much the thing to have here, as Hunter Abbott just pointed out. But 2 on the front row and a whole host a little bit further back. In fact, the front 4 cars are all Audis ahead of Hunter Abbott's Mercedes. But what a place to race. Now it's good, we start to see people clearing the grid, getting a chance to see these 28 fantastic races. These cars, such a hit. There's my favourite livery in the race, that metallic mid-blue. It's the Milestone Racing Audi, the only car not to finish yesterday. And Frankie Lee will be starting that. Kung Fu Cheng, but known as Frankie around the racing world, very popular racer. That's starting from 3rd on the grid. So Audi, 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 and alongside him he's got KCMG by Champion Racing with Martin Rump. Now the track, here it is, split as all circuits into 3 sectors. And what you can see, the dark blue sector is the start of the lap, dropping down to turn 1, then up through those amazing S's. And the green sector in the middle, really, really tough, before you cross over under 130R, the signature corner, the red one at the highest point of the circuit. It doesn't look as though it's raining there, but we saw those shots down on the grid. Most certainly there is precipitation. You could see it on the roof of the cars. We've still got a chance to catch some more interviews down on the grid, hopefully before the start of the race. Now we can see the cars. All those tyres are being taken away. Wet tyres, rain tyres we've got ready. There's Hunter Abbott's Mercedes. Great big mean beast. That's the one with the red stripe. The sister car has the yellow stripe. Starting further back, Maxi Goertz, one of the works Mercedes drivers, joining him this weekend. You can see the rain on the windscreen. It's fairly light. And earlier I was joking, the rain was falling but wasn't reaching the ground. It seemed to evaporate as it came down. Still perfectly warm here. And it will keep the drivers on their toes. They've really got to just feel the circumstances as they go around the track. It will have been different from when they drove round to the grid. Now Marci Lee and Sean Thong, yesterday's winners, they came here not in the lead of the championship. They're behind Hunter Abbott, but they've turned that all around and now lead the way by 13 points. And this time it's Sean Thong who'll be starting, handing over to Marci Lee. And I must say, very entertaining yesterday when they were being interviewed after the victory. Sean said, well, brilliant start from Marci. He got into the lead and pulled slowly further away. And Marci said, what do you mean slowly? Of course, what he meant gradually, but it was a great drive from the 2 of them. In the Audi Hong Kong R8, they're starting 7th today. Just to reiterate, that the top 3 finishers get extra time they have to have in the pit lane, and it'll be 10 seconds extra that yesterday winners have to spend during their pit stop. That will certainly make it very hard indeed. There's one of the sister cars. That's the Audi R8 LMS Cup entry, run from the neighbouring garage to Marci Lee and Sean Thong's car. Alex Young, ex-Minardi Formula 1 driver, will go out. Now, will he be the one that has the worst conditions? Because very lightly wet. You can see the windscreen wipers going on some of the cars as they sit there waiting. I would warrant from the dry of my commentary box that conditions are getting slightly heavier, but certainly nothing in comparison to some of the incredibly famous wet races that have been at Suzuka over the years. This is light, and I think we will very soon have a clear racing line around the circuit. I think they're dried out as fast as the rain is falling. I think they will dry it out, but go offline if it carries on falling, and it will be so much harder for the drivers. So a lot of caution will be required. 28 cars split, 23 cars in the GT3 class. They're the more powerful cars with the bigger wings, the more aerodynamic cars, and at the back 5 GT4 cars, all Porsche Caymans, and next year I'm sure in the second Blancpain GT Series Asia will have many more GT4 cars. And one of the racers, Frank Hughes, suggested that maybe they'll even have a race of their own. So there's yesterday's winner. Ooh, you can see a little bit of spray as the cars come off, but even then they can leave a little strip of rubber as they get the power down away from the grid. So yesterday we started in sunshine. Today, after those little seismic rumbles this morning, we are starting on a grey day, but it's not cold. I certainly think if the rain eases, the track will be fully dry. In fact, you hardly call it wet, but you can see around the circuit there are different patches of rain. I would suggest up at the far end of the circuit around Spoon, the rain is Spoon Curve at the very top is where the rain might be falling most heavily, but really it is not heavy rain. And if we can have a race even half as good as yesterday's, I will be enthralled, because we had some fantastic overtaking. And just to show the mix is good, the format is fantastic. We've had 5 races so far, 2 at Sepang, 2 in Chang International Circuit, Buriram in Thailand, and now 1 so far here. And the good news in GT3, the lead of the race, we've had 5 different winners. It was Patel and Gilbert winning the first race for Audi, and they are on the front row. They've got every chance today, working down through the grid. You can see actually quite a few of the good runners. Look out for Kay Cozzolino, starting 16th on the grid, joining the championship this weekend in the bright, luminous yellow Lamborghini. Now we're down towards the tail of the grid. The top car in GT4 will be number 77, just behind Arrows Racing, just joining the championship this weekend. One of 4 new teams to the series this year. And Craft Bamboo Racing, so successful at the front yesterday, 2 cars in the top 4, and their car leads the GT4 class with Frank Yu starting. So the final 2 rows of grid, and Tony Fong and Terence C bringing up the rear. 28 cars, not bad for an inaugural championship, and certainly one of the biggest grids of cars that has been seen in the Far East for GT3 runners. So the Honda safety car leading the field out of Spoon Curve. All the drivers just trying to see how much grip they might have. Okay, they're going slowly. Right now they're trying to get heat in their tyres, but they don't want to get out on those curbs. A lot of drivers were dropping their wheels over the curbs on the outside yesterday. Some kicked up the dirt. You lose momentum going past that marshal's post where the waved yellow flag is, obviously saying no overtaking on the formation lap. That is the point at which you lose your momentum. You suffer the whole way down this long straight. We're looking at a foreshortened view. Of course, the televisual view down effectively the second longest straight on the circuit as they come up to the next corner, 130R, which is a very quick bend. We saw a few drivers going out over the white lines, over the curbs, but luckily there's runoff there, yes. And yesterday all was fine, but as you can see, along the side of the straight there is very little runoff. It's an old school circuit. I was talking to Kay Cozzolino. You see that bright yellowy green car here, number 777 into your view, joining the championship this weekend, Car Guy Racing, and he's sharing that car, handing over to Takeshi Kimura, a gentleman who has a lot of supercars to play with. But right now, let's concentrate on who's going to get the best start. Will it be the number 7 Audi with Alessio Picariello, or will it be Mitch Gilbert in the 86 Audi on the outside, behind Frankie Cheng in the blue Audi and Martin Rupp, all very handy drivers. And let's see if that Mercedes can get its rumble down. Hunter Abbott on the right-hand side, on the pit wall side, with yet another Audi alongside. Kantasak Kusiri, one of the Thai racers in this field. So 28 cars coming out to play, need the field to get in order. That red Ferrari in the middle has to gain position, get up alongside the silver Ferrari, waiting for those 5 red lights to get going. We had a great start from the pole man yesterday. That was the Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche. That's further back down the field. A long hold. The lights haven't gone red. We're going for another formation lap. Oh, there I was, getting all ready to work up to a crescendo, but maybe the field wasn't in suitable formation. Certainly the red Ferrari, just turning into turn 1 now, was out of position. That's one of 4 new crews this weekend. That's the ARN Racing Ferrari with Kuta Sasaki at the wheel. He was very impressive, I must say, along with his teammate Hiroaki Nagai, and they ended up near the sharp end in 6th place overall, 2nd in the Pro-Am class, so it was a really strong run. So I don't suppose the drivers mind too much. The adrenaline would have dropped away very slightly, but another chance to assess the circumstances of the circuit. For example, has it even changed between their first formation lap and the second? So Marchi Lee, he did the start yesterday. Really good start from 3rd place on the grid. He got into 2nd, and by the end of the opening lap, Daryl O'Young made a slight slip up just as they approached the chicane at the end of the lap, and Marchi Lee said thank you very much, and then built the lead from there. Handed the car over. He was in 2nd place after a time penalty that had to be served, a success penalty, if you will, during the pit stop. But then Sean Fong got it back into the lead and went off to win by a big margin by the standards of Blancpain GT Racing, 16.5 seconds over Devon Modell and Nick Foster. Devon's 2nd race in the series, and the Australian racer Nick Foster's 1st race. So a very good splash from them. And the podium was completed by Aditya Patel and Mitch Gilbert. That's the 86 Audi that will be starting for the 2nd race in succession on the outside of the front row. So maybe Mitch Gilbert can do a better start than his teammate Aditya Patel did yesterday, whereas Aditya started second but was third by the first corner, and in fact very nearly fell to fourth as Sandy Stuvik put on a bit of a charge in his Lamborghini. Waved yellow flags all the way around the circuit. Of course, no overtaking as the drivers come out of Spoon and go onto the back straight. The track mottled. Darker patches, lighter patches. Not all the drivers using their windscreen wipers. There's a large element you don't want to use your wipers. Once you've used it, it smears the screen, but there are certain products you can put on that just repel the water, have it rolling out. Now is the field better positioned than it was last time around. The first few rows were very tidy. They have to slightly go out of position to get through the chicane. Now we're about to go racing. So all eyes on the monitors in the pit garage. Pole position, Alessio Picariello, second place on the grid. Mitch Gilbert on the outside. Frankie Cheng, Martin Rupp. You have to feel one of those will be first into the opening corner, but can Maxi Goetz, who's starting the Mercedes, put Hunter Abbott's car right towards the front? So we heard from Hunter on the grid, but Maxi Goetz about to make his first start. Of course, took over after the pit stop yesterday. So the lights go green, a nice early flick. Frankie Cheng looking promising in that blue Audi, but it looks as though Picariello is in front. Mitch Gilbert will be holding second place. They're trying to go three abreast. The Mercedes having a look with Goetz down the inside, but grid order has been maintained. Very tidy through the first corner. Picariello slides slightly wide, but manages to edge out Mitch Gilbert. They're tucking in Frankie Cheng in third. Looks as though the Mercedes and Maxi Goetz is going to go around the outside of Martin Rupp, or try to, into the first part of the S's. Great move from the Mercedes racer. Oh, and I'm afraid the 39 Ferrari has gone off for a bit of a slam. That's Max Wieser, been given a hit up the rear and sent into the barriers on the outside. The car actually jacked up onto its side against the safety barriers there, the cushioned barriers in front of the tyre wall. So I don't think we can blame that on Max Wieser. I think he was given a push. And Maxi Goetz has gone from fourth to third. He's gone past Frankie Cheng's blue Audi, the Milestone Racing Audi. It looks like one of the Porsches is starting to make good progress behind. That's Nick Foster, the black and white Craft Bamboo Racing entry. But a really tidy lead there for Alessio Picariello. Mitch Gilbert in second place, now up to third from fifth on the grid, Maxi Goetz. And he's right onto Gilbert's tail. So the German sub for the team, if you like, putting on a fantastic opening lap, clearly confident in the wet. And Nick Foster's gained another position up into fourth place. He's gone past Martin Rump, and now Rump is being challenged from behind. I think that could even be Alex Young, just waiting for the timing screen to confirm that is the case, waiting for the sectors to come up. So it's Picariello, Gilbert. It's all changed. Waved yellow safety car. We can see the C of SC, so that's been called out. So unfortunate for Picariello, and does bodywork rubbing on the back of Frankie Cheng's Audi. You could just see it in the background, the bodywork smoking, or the tyres smoking, as the, oh dear, the Milestone Racing Audi was the only, well, one of two retirements yesterday. And let's have a look at the back of that car. Yeah, the bodywork on the driver's left rear has been given a thump. He was third at the start of the race, and a couple of cars went past him, and quite clearly there has been contact. So I'm afraid for the Milestone Racing crew, run by Absolute Racing, it's a quick trip back into the pit. So for Frankie Cheng, can they get the bodywork off the tyre while the safety car is out on the circuit? How much time will they lose? There, number 7, he had a big lead. It's all going to come back in. That's Picariello. Behind, we've got Gilbert. Third place, great start, Maxi Goetz. Nick Foster, he came forward from 8th on the grid, so good for him too. It was Alex Young who moved up to 5th. Martin Rump dropping to 6th. Then Sean Thong. Now let's take a look at the replay of the start. All very clean, very tidy. 2 by 2 they went. In fact, the last of the GT4 cars, the first of the GT4 cars just coming through the final corner. But poleman Picariello down, held the lead. Trying to go around the outside was Mitch Gilbert. Trying to gain places was the Mercedes in 5th place, Maxi Goetz. No contact here with the back. No, certainly no contact with Frankie Cheng there. That's not where the damage happened. Mid-grid, look for the black, white and turquoise Ferrari. Oh, he went across the nose. I think he was given a hit, possibly by the Kei Cozzolino car guy Lamborghini. Don't want to second guess that. Went right across the nose of Koto Sasaki in the Ferrari. And there's the car clattered against the soft element in front of the tyre wall. Might not have felt too soft when it was hit, but it's done its job. It stopped the Spirit of Race Ferrari. And I'm sure by now Max Wieser has been extracted from that. But always you find out if it's been raining, you have a certain amount of grip from the track. It's very coarse tarmac here at Suzuka, but the grass was wet, the curbs are wet. You almost accelerate when you go off the circuit. So how unfortunate was that? We'd had the first 2 corners negotiated very cleanly indeed. bodywork possibly rubbing on the ARN Ferrari there. Just saw a little bit of smoke coming out of the front of that, so maybe that was where he got a little bit of a side blow with the 39 Spirit of Race Ferrari as it went off. Look out for the dark red Ferrari, should be coming into shot any moment now. Here it is. Now, is there any smoky? Yes, the front left corner, driver's left corner, that bodywork is rubbing. But actually, that said, I think the car was on the other side. So Francisco Guedes taking a look. His car is still in the race, but the sister car from Spirit of Race is the one that went clattering off the circuit and has ended up against the tyre wall. So unfortunate there. Safety car continues to lead the field around slowly. Now just looking to see whether the number 13 Audi has got out at the back of the queue again. That was the one brought in, the Milestone Racing car. So the safety car leading us around incident fourth corner of the opening lap. We'll look for the safety car signs to be removed, and the key is as long as the lights are flashing on top of the safety car, then the drivers behind running in race formation will know that they're going to continue for another lap. But it would normally be approaching 130R that the lights will be flicked off if the car is to be withdrawn at the end of this lap, but doesn't look to be that way. So for Alessio Picariello, such a strong start. He'd really eked out an advantage over Mitch Gilbert as Maxi Goertz in the big Mercedes got into challenge, and that slightly delayed the Australian. But Picariello had that advantage. 3.3 seconds it was at the end of the opening lap, but then he saw the safety car waiting for him, and it's come down to next to nothing. Lights still flashing, so another lap at least behind the safety car, because they would be off by now if he was pulling off. He'd be turning into the pit lane any second now. So he continues for another lap. There is the sign. So another lap behind the safety car. That's one completed. We're going to have a second. But let's take another look at the start of the race. It was certainly clean for poleman Alessio Picariello, and Mitch Gilbert on the outside also got away well. You could see the weaving behind from Frankie Cheng in the blue Audi, looking to see what he could do. Maxi Goertz shaping up to try and dive down the inside. It didn't work in the Mercedes. Martin Rump along the outside in fourth place, got a little bit loose, going around the outside in the black and white Porsche. Nick Foster all super clear. The GT4 cars coming into the background of the shot just now. But it was here, through the first corner of the S's, and then the contact. No, in fact, I seem to have blamed Kay Cozzolino. He wasn't close enough in the yellow Lamborghini to hit the back. Max Weezer couldn't work out who did. And if there was any contact with the ARN Racing Ferrari, that wasn't what has put the bodywork down on the tyre. That must be later in the lap. So the runners in Blancpain GT Series Asia, we wondered if there'd be trouble on a slightly greasy track at the start of this race. One little slip up, and the 39 Spirit of Race Ferrari was trying to make up ground. It was starting down on row 5 in 9th place in the hands of Max Weezer, clattered out of the race. I would think we might be able to go racing again at the end of this lap. So 28 cars has become 27 cars. And in the pits, but out of the pits now, is Frankie Cheng in the Milestone Racing Audi. So he will be tacked onto the back of the GT4 quintet, and he'll see what he can do to advance from them, and hopefully they will keep out of his way. So, just receiving message. Oh, now there was the sight of Frankie Cheng at the back of the queue behind the 5 GT4 runners. The safety car will be coming in at the end of the lap. Just got the signal from race control. So, all the drivers, and most notably Frankie Cheng at the back, he's got to get past those GT4 cars and see if he can get on the tail of the GT3 field. But for Alessio Picariello, who's leading the race for J-Fly Racing, there's the silver and blue Audi at the front. He's got to get it all right, but it's the place to be. The driver who is at the front of the field can't be overtaken until they get to the start-finish line. But what he can do, the lights are now out as they come out of Spoon Curve. So Alessio Picariello knows with the lights out on the Honda safety car that it will be racing time again. No more safety car action. The safety car will go down this back straight, go through the chicane, and dive into the pits. And Alessio has slowed it right down. Right behind is Mitch Gilbert, but it's up to Alessio when he drops the throttle, when he goes, and it's up to Gilbert to react and all those behind to be as close to the car in front. For example, that red Ferrari from ARN Racing really needs to be an awful lot closer to the Lamborghini duo up ahead of him, so he won't lose too much ground. The yellow and green Porsche was right at the front yesterday. That's tucked down behind the D-Station Racing Porsche. It looks as though Picariello, he's already going for it. Right, he's released the throttle, off he goes. So Mitch Gilbert needs to catch up, not close enough to overtake, but he's got to just stay as close as he can. Behind Maxi Goetz, a bit of a gap back to Nick Foster. Can't be any overtaking into the chicane, but they have to be tidy. The racing effectively restarts when they cross the start-finish line. Now, a very good exit from the chicane from Maxi Goetz. I quite fancy a challenge to Mitch Gilbert for second place as they come down the hill. Sloping start-finish straight. So it's full green racing again, the green flags waving away on the start-finish line. But it looks as though Mitch Gilbert's done enough to keep Maxi Goetz behind him as they come down the hill. Foster in fourth place, but for Picariello, he's done enough to keep the lead at the restarts. Fifth and sixth places may have had a change. Looks as though Alex Young and Martin Rump, Rump has lost another position. At seventh place is Sean Thong. Of course, he was in the winning car yesterday. He, though, has a 10-second penalty to serve during his pit stop. And now Maxi Goetz in. I thought this was going to be coming, trying to go around the outside of Mitch Gilbert, the big Mercedes. It just looks so much bigger than the Audi R8. It's hard to believe they can be just as nimble. But Maxi Goetz is doing his utmost to see if he can hand a top two position to Hunter Abbott when it comes around to the pit stops. Oh, a mistake from Picariello out over the curbs in the first Degner. That could have been straight into the gravel. Somehow he got it back onto track, but when it's been raining, you do not want to go out onto the curbs. That's where the water hangs. Got it back together. I honestly thought he might have then come back across the track, which could have caused a real mischief for those behind. Well, two cars hitting, one hitting another. I thought Nick Foster was going to hit the Mercedes, then Alex Young gave him a clatter as they scrabbled for grip on the way into the hairpin, but the order remaining as it was. So second and third is where, well, I'm not going to say the battling is whole way down the field, but Picariello has recovered from that big slip at Degner 1, got away with it. I think that's his get out of jail card used. Mitch Gilbert hanging on in second place, but Maxi Goetz is the hunter, and Gilbert is very much the hunted. Through Spoon they go, down the back straight, trying to get the power down. Absolute Racing crew not sure where to look. Picariello, he had a lucky escape. He's sitting on a lead of just under a second as they go through 130R, such a fearsome bend. And then the real pack is down in about 10th place. But Picariello, Gilbert, Goetz, Foster, and Alex Young going very well, despite that little bit of contact with the back of Nick Foster's Porsche. Oh dear, that is is Rump off the circuit, number 18 Audi. He was running in 6th place, so step up all those behind. So Sean Thong, Kansak Kusiri, and Kei Cozzolino's going really well in the Car Guy Racing Lamborghini, all moved up a position. So right at the end of the lap, I'm afraid we lost Martin Rump. KCMG by Champion Racing Audi off at the side of the circuit. Picariello is on tiptoes as he turns into the S's, trying to take as much speed as he dares and balancing the cars. You can imagine him just literally holding the steering wheel with a finger and thumb on either hand. The delicacy needed to be really accurate and get the balance right when you're putting the power down. And again, the rain, if anything, looks so it's getting very slightly heavier as they go out of the S's, up round the back of the paddock. And again, Maxi Goetz trying his utmost to unsettle Mitch Gilbert, but actually got so close that he lost a little bit of ground coming out. Now they've seen the waved yellow flags, full course yellow, well spotted by the drivers. You can see the FCY board, they have to slow down to the mandated speed. First four have actually made really quite a gap, but of course it was in that battle behind that we lost. In fact, we've lost Alex Young from that bit as well. Oh, back to the second pit stop, decided they've already come to the back of the field for bodywork repair. So rain tyres, it's a roll of the dice, nothing to lose for the Milestone Racing crew. Drawing the full course yellow in came. That was a very quick call from Milestone Racing because the leaders had gone past as the full course yellow flags and boards came out. And by dint of running down to the back of the field, this was a chance for Frankie Cheng and Milestone Racing to roll the dice, get onto the rain tyres. Oh yes, the rain is coming down far more heavily now. You can pick it out against the tarmac there. All the drivers now using their windscreen wipers It was just a very light drizzle at the start of the race, but now we've got proper rain. Of course, the gaps won't close up under full course yellow because all the drivers, it's not like closing up behind a safety car, all the drivers have to run at the exact same speed. So there it is, there's the rundown. Bikari Yellow, Gilbert, Gertz and Foster. Then there's a gap back to Sean Thong. Kantasak Kusiri in his Audi tucked in behind. Kei Kozolino in the 777. Well, it's fitting he's in 7th place. Lamborghini. Jules Simkoviak in the 888 in 8th place. There's a bit of a pattern here. Then Nicholas Costa joining the championship this weekend. And car number 1, it's Alberto Di Folco, who'll be handing that over to young Aussie racer Aidan Reed later in the race. They're the top 10. But look for Frankie Cheng. He is down at the back of the field, but he's put that Milestone Racing Audi onto rain tyres. It's way too early for those at the front to consider, but if he can nurse those tyres as the track gets wetter, as the rain becomes heavier, if indeed it continues to do so, then that's the chance to turn a race that had gone wrong into one that goes very, very right indeed. But it is a gamble. Nothing to lose, though, for Frankie Cheng and Milestone Racing. So we had the safety car. That withdrew. We've now got the full course yellow while they tidy up the 2 cars that have gone missing, because we lost Alex Jung in the number 6 Audi, and at the side of the track, number 18 out of the mix. In fact, Alex Jung has tucked back into the pack, so I guess he was involved in a clash or a clatter with the KCMG Audi that is off at the side of the circuit. Martin Rump will not be handing that over. Its race is run, so unfortunately for Rick Yoon, he doesn't get to take part in the second race. Still full course yellow, still the order, of course, remaining as it was. Martin Rump's Audi has been recovered and making its way back round. And Rick Yoon may yet get to race. So there you can see, behind the full course yellow, the gaps are being maintained. First 4 have that advantage, because of course those behinds cannot close up, and Sean Thong is leading the next pack of cars, and right behind him he's got Kantasak Kusiri, and the bright yellow Lamborghini is in 7th place. Kei Kozolino then the 2nd of the Mercedes, that's the one with the bright yellow stripe on its livery, Jules Simkoviak. Leader in GT4, by the way, is Frank Yu in the number 77 Porsche Cayman. And down at the rear, Rump and Weezer. Well, Weezer we know is out of the race in the 39 Ferrari, but we've seen the number 18 Audi recover from where it had fallen. And will be returning to the pits for a checkup. And Alex Jung had made it into the pits and has rejoined, so he'll be down towards the tail end of the field in the number 6 Audi, which is a shame. He got up into, I think, 5th or 6th position at the time, just before the incident with Martin Rump. Didn't get to see that, unfortunately, but so much action on track to catch. Very different conditions to yesterday, changing by the lap. Still raining, but not quite as hard as it was a lap ago. Trying to get a close-up shot, looking at the 86 car, Mitch Gilbert running in 2nd place in the Audi Racing Audi. He'll be handing that over to Aditya Patel. So still full course yellow, still that gap between the 4th place Porsche of Nick Foster and then Sean Thong in the background in yesterday's winning car. Now this is the bunch from 5th place backwards. It's one of yesterday's winning duo. Sean Thong. Behind him is Kantasak Kusiri, the Thai racer. Then Kei Kozolino, Jules Simkoviak, Nicholas Costa, and Kuta Sasaki. It's actually suggesting that Sasaki and Di Folco changed positions on the previous lap, which they shouldn't have done under full course yellow. We'll keep an eye out for that for you. 98 was one of 4 new crews this weekend. That's the Arrows Racing entry. 2 drivers from Hong Kong, Jackie Jung, who's at the wheel, and Philip Ma running down towards the tail of the pack. Running in the AM class, we've got 5 cars for amateur drivers. They're less experienced drivers. They have a battle of their own, of course. And yesterday's top AM runner come the finish of the race was Andrew Haryanto, sharing his Lamborghini with Samson Chan. Well, the full course yellow has gone, and what's happened there is Sean Thong has been caught out. He just lost 2, about to lose 3 positions, got jumped out of position. Nick Foster also got caught out because his Porsche's dropped right back at the front of the field. Well, there was almost a chain reaction at the tail of the field. The first 3 have got away, Picariello and Gilbert dropping Maxi Götz, but where is the Porsche? Well, he's lost a huge amount of ground, Nick Foster. That caught a lot of the field. I think they were sort of expecting it to end when they came back to the start-finish straight. It ended when they were halfway around the lap at Spoon Curve. The first 2 cars in particular have responded well, weaving their way down the straights. It's almost as though they don't quite believe matters. I want to see if there's still a full course yellow board. No, there isn't. They're driving at proper racing speed. So, and the race leader's just gone off, and SRO Picariello's already made 1 mistake and recovered at turn 1, or first curve as it's called. He went off the circuit, just got it back in front of Mitch Gilbert before they got to the second curve. Maxi Götz gaining on the 2 of them. So the first 3 closing right up. Kay Cozzolino's gained about 1 or 2 places further back down the field in the bright yellow Audi. Looks so the rain, contrary to what I said, has suddenly started to get heavier again, and that's what caught Picariello out in the lead of the race. Maxi Götz up the inside of Mitch Gilbert, but the track then bends the other way at the top of the S's, but he's kept his foot in the big Mercedes. Can he keep it on the black stuff between the white lines? Yes, he can. What a fantastic pass for second position. Hunter Abbott will be jumping up and down in the pits. Came here leading the championship, lost ground yesterday as they finished at only 7th place, but his German teammate, new to the crew this weekend, has put the Group M Racing Mercedes up into second place. Next target, the race leader, Alessio Picariello. We've seen Picariello have a couple of major moments that he had to contain. Still in the lead of the race, but he's had a little bit too much excitement, and the excitement is definitely going to be coming from the challenge from the 999 Group M Racing Mercedes. Maxi Götz, he is the star of the race so far. Oh no, Sean Thong, winner yesterday's gone for a spin. He's got to get off the wet grass, and you can see he's lost a lot of ground because the GT4 crews are coming through. He's right down now at the tail of the field, so we're having a few changes of order, and Marchie Lee in the pit will be doing the opposite of jumping up and down. Well, maybe jumping up and down in anger, because his chance as joint championship leader with his teammate of extending that lead is going to be made all the more difficult by that rotation. Back on the track, we've got a front right puncture. Quite tell. It looks as though Sean Thong is struggling to get the traction down. The first 3 seem to be running in equal order. Now we've got Jules Simkowiak in the second of the Mercedes. He gained an enormous amount of ground. He was down, I think he was in 8th position behind the full course yellow, read the restart very well, got past the napping Sean Thong, as did several others, and now we've suddenly got 2 Group M Racing Mercedes. They started in 5th, and I have to look quite a way further down the grid, 13th position, and they're now in 2nd and 4th. What a great run for Group M Racing and their big Mercs. Look for the 4th place one, Jules Simkowiak, the young Dutch racer, coming round the final corner onto the start-finish straight. Then comes Nick Foster, then it should be Cantasac Casiro, then Kay Cozzolino. So the driver who really gained 4 positions is Jules Simkowiak in the 888 Mercedes. Now, let's see what he can do about Mitch Gilbert. He's confident enough to take the inside line. That's normally the wetter line on a corner that has slight banking. The drivers who understand it take the old karting line high around the outside. But, of course, if you go too close to the top, you could hit the curb and go over the top. But the speed with which that Jules Simkowiak is able to haul in Mitch Gilbert shows that either the Mercedes is just fabulous in the wet, or both the drivers are just taking major gambles as try and see if they can get towards a podium. And again, at the top of the S's, we see that Mitch Gilbert's being super cautious, and he was passed not so long ago by the Mercedes that we see in our shots now, the Mercedes that Maxi Götz has bounced over the curbs at Degner 1. They're both so confident at that long left-hander at the top of the hill. They're prepared to attack, and how that advantage has come down. It was 1 second on the start-finish line, just a blink over. It's down to about a third of a second between the driver of the number 7 Audi, Alessio Picariello, who goes very high to try and get a bit more grip. Low in the hairpin goes Maxi Götz, and now he's getting the power down as they accelerate through the long right-hander that takes them towards Spoon. That's the first part of it, past the big modal banner there. Now up to the second part. Then they stop turning right, go over a very slight crest, have to turn left. And who's got the confidence to put the power down the sooner as they come out of Spoon? It's a corner that just keeps on giving, keeps on going. And look how close Maxi Götz has got that Mercedes to the tail of Picariello. I think Picariello might have got the power down just as well, but of course in the slipstream is where that big Mercedes is, placed in behind the number 7 J-Fly Racing Audi. Oh, here comes the challenge. It won't be through 130R. The corner is too quick, but it may well come as they dive down into the chicane. I've seen it's so tight of so many incidents over the year, but I think Maxi Götz isn't quite close enough to make a challenge. But we've seen before, he's very good at a precise exit. He clouts the curb on the first part of the chicane, but again, a much wider line and a quicker exit. Oh dear, from the chicane, grass all over the front. Oh, we've got a front puncture, front right puncture for, oh dear, that's Kuta Sasaki. It's not been the greatest of race fit. Oh, the pit's now started to really fill up. It's much, much wetter. The wind is blowing, the rain is falling, getting very heavy indeed. The pit window is open. A lot of these cars were coming in for an early driver change. I would have thought a later driver change to see if the rain would continue is the way to go. But in from fourth place, Jules Simkowiak. He's the first of the front runners to come into the pit lane. No, in fact, Mitch Gilbert came in from third place, so the cars fighting over third and fourth have come into the pits to make their driver changes. But is that the wise thing to do? Nick Foster has now lost a position to Kantasak Kusiri. There's the 59 Audi. Has got part with the Thai driver, has got past the Aussie Porsche driver. Mitch Gilbert out, Aditya Patel in. What tyres have they put on? Have we got grip? Yes, we have. So it is rain tyres. I still reckon it's worth someone staying out as long as they can and see if they can keep a set of slick tyres, put a set of slick tyres on for the second half of the race. But then the teams will have their own weather officers letting them know what's happening. Lead of the race, still Alessio Picariello being hunted down. It was 0.242 of a second. That was all his advantage was over Maxi Götz. And at the hairpin, half a lap away from that timing interval is pretty much the same. Best way, of course, of gauging how wet it is checking what the photographers and fans are wearing around the outside of the circuit. But then again, the photographers wouldn't want to take their eyes away from the circuit, their lenses off the circuit for long enough to change if it dries out. They're here to capture the action. And I feel with just over half of this race remaining, there is plenty more action to come. Just to let you know the progress of Frankie Cheng. He's had that very, very early change to rain tyres. He's had 2 pit stops. He's down in 19th position. Will be working his way forward. Almost all the teams opting for rain tyres at the pit stops. There's the 99 Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche that was at the front yesterday, fleetingly led the race from pole, but ended up in 4th place overall. Daryl O'Young and Peter Lee. Now, are either of these leaders going to dive into the pits? Race leader looks as though he is. Yes, so in comes Alessio Picariello. But Maxi Götz is going for as long as he can. I think that could be the master stroke. He's going to go on as long as he can. The pit window closes when we get to 25:00 on the clock at the top of the screen. So still 5 minutes, still potentially 2 more laps he can manage. How fast are the lap times at the moment? 2 minutes 18 last time around, 2 minutes 19:20. So yeah, he can do 2 more laps. One might be the safe one to do. So in from the lead of the race, Alessio Picariello. He'll be handing over that J-Flight by Absolute Racing Audi to Jeffrey Lee, driver from Taiwan, showing the international standing in this championship. Belgian driver with Italian name gets out, and Taiwanese driver has his seat insert put into position by the Absolute Racing crew. Now, number 13, Frankie Cheng. This was the car that came in after the bodywork was pushed down onto one of the rear wheels, the left rear wheel. You can see where the bodywork is missing on the rear left of that car, and then made a very early change, not of drivers, it was before the pit window, but changing to rain tyres. Let's have a little look at the lap times being achieved. 2 minutes 19, so his lap times at the moment are the same as the other front runners, but I think those rain tyres are becoming good. What's the pace of our race leader? He did a 2 minutes 19 last time around. That is him there. That is Maxi Götz and the 999 Mercedes. Just gone past the T2 Motorsports Ferrari. Looking for long shots around the circuit, looking to see if there are any breaks in the sky. It's still raining. Is it as heavy? Both windscreen wipers beating away, but almost on a slow interval setting for our race leader, Maxi Götz. Oh, fantastic high shot, looking down into the cockpit. You can see him adjusting the car as he worked his way through the super, super long spoon curve, trying to just feel the balance through the seat of the pants, through his hands, and apply the throttle as hard as he could, as soon as he could. 88, Nick Foster brought that in from 4th place. Back out onto the circuit, a whole host of others coming out. The GT4 runners still out on the track. now. Let's look, will the 999, will Maxi Gertz, will he bring that Mercedes into the pits this time round? He's got to, surely. It's a bit too much of a gamble to go on a lap longer. So the pit window's still got 3.5 minutes or so remaining in it, but not stopping, getting down to the speed limiter line. It's good the drivers have to learn if it's the first or second. Many a face is red when a driver works out he's put the speed limiter on at the wrong line. So 75, the T2 Motorsports entry down the hill. Great livery. I do like the metallic blue and red. That's not featuring at the front end. Almost all the top runners, front runners have come in. 6, this is the Audi that lost a bit of ground with Alex Yoong at the wheel. Had an early pit stop, and now is gambling on having a long run. Now let's have a look at the lap times. 2:25s. Now I don't know if this one came in and got rain tyres during Alex's reign, if you will, but I think he was coming in to have bodywork attention because he was involved potentially in that clash with Martin Rump. They were in adjacent positions on the timing screen when Rump went missing. 59, this went very well in the hands of the categorisation. Singer Plan B Motorsport team. And he's handing that over to Burit Vironbakti, fellow Thai. Now the GT4 runners. All in Porsche Caymans, all 5 of them. The class is being led, of course, during the pit stop time. Things changed, but Frank Yu, by dint of not pitting, yesterday's class winner, is staying out as long as he can before handing over to Jean-Marc Merlin and has risen up to 14th position overall. Of course, that's not representative because he has yet to stop. But one car that has stopped, just see Kei Cozzolino running away in the background. He's handing the car over to its owner, Takeshi Kimura, Japanese collector of very fine cars, they also compete in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, but I think this is a very good toe in the water for them joining the Blancpain GT Series. So Hunter Abbott in the pits in the lead in the 999. We're looking at 777. Will it get going? Yep. Just about from one of the garages at pit exit, but he's coming out behind a car that was behind him when he came in, if you will. So the 38 Ferrari, Rui Aguas started that, did a very good job, and it's handed over to Francisco Guedes, fellow Portuguese racer. Pit window still open, but everybody has made their call right now. In fact, I'm just trying to see if Alex Yoong has come in number 6. Of course, he needs a second pit stop. In fact, I think he'll be coming in this lap. He's leaving it very, very late. Be interesting after the race if he rises to the front to find out that he'd put rain tyres on earlier. So now, well, change of order. Aditya Patel has said to the number 7 Audi, you might have been leading me early on, but Jeffrey Lee, you will be behind me. So for the car that is second in the championship, Patel and Gilbert has picked off Jeffrey Lee. One would have expected that in terms of experience, but the moves have to be made. Alex Yoong just reports into the pits, gets in just before the pit window closes in 10 seconds time, but by the time he's served that pit stop, he won't be at the top of my timing sheets. He will be back down the order, and it should be Hunter Abbott leading the way in the 999. Or will it be? Let's just find out. We're having to wait for the equalisation. The 77 GT4 class winner yesterday, Jean-Marc Merlin, making his pit stop. Now there is our race leader. That is the 999 Mercedes. Hunter Abbott tucked it very, very close indeed. Aditya Patel seems to be getting up to speed all the faster. So behind the 17 GT4 Porsche, the next car into the chicane will be the race leader, the GT3 front runner, and certainly Abbott is being challenged very, very hard indeed for the lead of the race. Just behind this black and green Porsche, the GT4 Porsche, will come the race leader, and it's still the Mercedes being challenged up the inside by Aditya Patel, and I fancy we're just seeing a change of lead. How close is it between them over the start-finish line? We're going to be talking about 0.01 of a second or less, but the Audi is in front by the time they get down to the first turn. There, unfortunately, is the third pit stop, or the third visit to the pits for the 13 Milestone Racing Audi, but there is our new race leader. Aditya Patel got past Hunter Abbott as they came out of the final corner, or more to the point, he edged ahead when they got to the start-finish line. In the background is the third-place car, Jeffrey Lee. He needs to depose that number 17 GT4 Porsche, does, loses a few seconds, and then there's a bit of a gap back to 4th place. So Fleeting in the lead. Hunter Abbott doesn't want to take any risks, but the car that's moved in front of him is ahead of him on points in the championship, so he can't let it go. He's got to settle down, assess how damp the track is, and see if he can get back onto the tail of the 86 Audi. And Aditya Patel certainly taking a risk through the first of the Degner curves, getting the tail out on the new race-leading Audi. But up ahead, he sees a gaggle of GT4 Porsches. He's going to have to hope he finds them on a part of the circuit where he can pick his way past without losing any momentum, because Hunter Abbott in the 999 Mercedes will be there to see what he can do about closing right in. And now, how close do you want your Craft Bamboo Racing Porsches? There's the second one of the pair, Devon Modell, almost being given a clip by one of the Lamborghinis in the sister car, which should now have Peter Lee on board. No, Peter Lee did the second half. It should be Darrell Young at the wheel of the yellow and green car. Just up ahead. Oh, we've got a spinner, and it's number 19 has gone off. That is the KCMG Naoto Takeda driven Audi. That's what gravel is there to do. But unfortunate for them. Let's hope we see no safety car or FC. Oh, how close is like the start of the race. Look at the 6 cars. You've got 3 GT4 Porsches and the first 3 runners in the race. Almost nose to tail now. Jeffrey Lee suddenly found a burst of life. I thought he was going to be dropped by the 86 Audi of Aditya Patel. But the main point is the fact that Aditya Patel took the lead, and then Hunter Abbott's claimed it back as they went past those GT4 back markers and manages to hold it. And then Aditya Patel almost getting a little clip from Jeffrey Lee. Oh, they don't want to put the power down too soon. You can see Aditya Patel, the tail coming out in his Audi. This is the point where he was better under acceleration last time around. That's when he took the lead from the Mercedes, but Hunter Abbott didn't let him get away. He's now back in front, but what's going to happen when they get down to turn 1? It looked like a very good start to the straight by Aditya Patel, and he's not waiting for turn... Oh, nearly hit the white line coming out of the pits. Don't want to be doing that too much. White lines, as we know, famously hold a little more water, more dampness. So all change at the front. Patel, Abbott, back to Patel in the lead of the race. Then looking, watching from behind, Jeffrey Lee holding down 3rd place overall. It says Picariello, but that's because getting into the car, we know Picariello started that number 7 Audi. Someone hasn't flicked the switch that changes the transponder to notify us of the new driver, but quite clearly we saw the pit stop. We saw Picariello walking away from the car, so I can assure you it's Jeffrey Lee in the J-Fly Audi. So it's 86 Audi from 999 Mercedes, and then that number 7 Audi. And in 4th place is the second of the Group M Mercedes. It's Tim Sugden's taken over from Jules Simkowiak, then Sandy Stuvik, 5th in the 66 Lamborghini, and Darrell Young 7th ahead of teammate Devon Modell. So the Porsches in 6th and 7th places. Now, Hunter Abbott's been in the lead, back to 2nd place, in the lead again, and back to 2nd place again. But it looks as though, with no traffic ahead, Aditya Patel is able to take a few more risks and pull his way clear at the front of the race. But still plenty of racing to go, 20 minutes remaining. Number 11, bringing up the rear in the GT4 class. And that is Tony Fong at the moment, taken over from Terence C. GT4 class is being led by Japanese crew, the Hub Auto Racing crew, started by Ringo Chong, from Singapore, but handed over to Masahiko Aida, one of 15 drivers new to the championship this weekend. He's doing a great job, leading the class by 2 and a bit seconds from the number 10 entry from EKS Motorsports with Byron Tong at the wheel. Look how much spray is coming out of the tail of the lead Audi, well, in fact, of everyone in the field. And certainly Aditya Patel is prepared to take risks just to get the power down to make a move. This time he was much more cautious, as I said that, but then again he wasn't trying to overtake Mercedes ahead of him. Now he is clear. Looks like he's going to be about 1.5 seconds clear, maybe slightly more, as his next target is the Arrows Racing Porsche down the end of the straight. 2.7 seconds, in fact, twice what I thought. Jeffrey Lee hanging on, and Tim Sugden, I fancy, is just starting to eke his way closer to a possible podium finish. In 4th place, he's another... well, he's 8 seconds back from Jeffrey Lee, but we'll keep an eye on that. So as the drivers go around the circuit, windscreen wipers beating across, or in the case of the Audi R8, windscreen wiper. They only have that one large one centered in the middle of the screen. Very impressive drive here from Aditya Patel. Great job at the start of the race by Mitch Gilbert. But certainly at this point of the drivers at the front end of the race, Patel is the driver prepared to push the hardest. But is he prepared to take a risk to go past the 98 Porsche? I would suggest that's not the best of ideas. Choose your moment. Oh, and in fact, track left nice and clear for him there. Philip Marr keeping out of the way. So he used his mirrors well through the first Degner. And it's still the Audi out on its own at the front of the race. so he's stretching clear now from Hunter Abbott. Hunter not wanting to take too many risks in the second place Mercedes, and Jeffrey Lee likewise napping at very, very similar pace, but just dropping slightly away. Burik Bimbakti looking at his car. Thai duo just lost a position to Alex Au in the number 6 Audi. There is a number 6 Audi that, unfortunately for the crew, had 2 visits to the pits rather than 1, picking their way up. Now, just want to point out in the series, if you finish a race as the winner, you have to have 10 extra seconds at a standstill during your pit stop. So that really would have hit the number 5 Audi crew, but they had their other problems with Sean Thong taking a spin. That's why yesterday's winners, championship leaders, are down in 18th place at the moment. There is Alex Jung pointing to the screens. And you can see the frustration. He was up there challenging for 5th place, a little bit of contact, had to make that extra pit stop. And now all Alex Au could do is try and, well, he's in a point-scoring position in 10th place. The points go from 25 for a win down to 1 for 10th place, but they could have achieved so much more here. But slippery conditions can catch out the best of them. Right, it was 2.7 seconds last time between race leader Aditya Patel's 86 Audi and the 999 Mercedes of Hunter Abbott. It must have gained another second. It has 3.9 seconds now. Jeffrey Lee dropping back, but the driver who's gained is Tim Sugden. He's storming in the background, just gone past the Arrows Racing Porsche there, but here comes the 888 Group M Mercedes. Didn't get to enjoy a full race at the last round of the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, because parts had to be scrambled from that car to the championship leading sister car. But now Tim Sugden looking to see what he can do, see how much he can close in. Jules Simkowiak was really good when the full course yellow period came to an end. Got a jump on Sean Thong, as did a whole host of others. The second race at Buriram last time out, Tim Sugden and Jules Simkowiak, who didn't start the first race while their car was cannibalised. Parts were flown in from Germany overnight, and they got to finish 8th. And this is going to be doubly good, because they're heading for 4th, but quite frankly, they're really heading for 3rd, so they close down on Jeffrey Lee. 16 minutes remaining. And right now, we just had the rundown in championship positions. Patel pulling clear. Hunter Abbott just doesn't seem to be able to respond. The last lap difference was a second and a bit to the good for the driver of this car. Windscreen still flapping away the 86 Audi from OD Racing, leading by 3.9 seconds and extending it as he goes around the lap. In fact, the middle part of the lap, in fact, Hunter Abbott doing a better job. Unusually here at Suzuka, we have 4 timing sectors. Most circuits around the world have 3, but in the first of the 4, Abbott lost ground. The second of the 4, he gained a 10th of a second back, but he's going to have to gain a whole lot more than that to get in close. Just having a little look at lap times. The fastest driver on the circuit last time around was Aidan Reed in the number one Lamborghini. He's up into 7th place. Just set that car's fastest lap of the race. Oh dear, the leader's just had a blowout, from the race leader coming down the start-finish straight. Saw it, apart from the tyres exploded, he's snaking away. The wheel arch contents have been sprayed across the track, caught brilliantly by the camera crews down there. He can't control it off the circuit, back onto the circuit. He's going to have to do an entire lap. Oh, Mitch Gilbert can't believe it. They had that in the bag. Brilliant drive from Aditya Patel. Don't know if he hit any debris in the circuit. I don't think so, but a sudden blowout. The tyre blew. What great work from the camera crews there to pick that up. Just saw something flash out the back of the car, and then you can see the innards have come out from that wheel arch. Oh, your heart goes out to the OD Racing crew. So suddenly into the lead of the race. A gift there to Hunter Abbott. Oh, poor Aditya Patel. And Mitch Gilbert, he's not going to be able to get that the whole way around the lap. It's 5.8 kilometres. The bodywork would be ripped to bits. So 25 points were not in the bag with 15 minutes remaining. And suddenly, the car that was started by Maxi Goetz, now in the hand of Hunter Abbott, is sitting on a lead of about 4 seconds over Jeffrey Lee. And the teammate, Tim Sugden, is now up into a podium position. Wow, that was a moment and 3/4 for poor Aditya Patel. Oh, I thought, has he just hit some debris, kicked it into the air? But it was not. It was the start of the tyre. It didn't burst, it exploded. now. That plenty of spray still being kicked up, but if it was debris that caused that, there's every likelihood that someone else can hit it, but they're more likely to hit the debris that came from the 86 Audi as it sprayed it across the start-finish straight as he descended the hill. It would have been a very, very quick, have I got a puncture? Good grief, I have. And then trying to control the 86 Audi down through turns 1 and 2. Very difficult indeed for the Indian racer, Aditya Patel. Still listed on the timing screens as leading the race, but he was 3.9 seconds clear as he crossed the start-finish line, but he did so with a tyre that had just exploded. So now Hunter Abbott leading the way. He came here leading the championship, and with both of his championship challengers, Marchi Lee and Sean Thong, having hit trouble, this is the chance for the pendulum to have swung totally back to the driver who a lap ago took the lead as he came down here. There's the debris, it's clear for all the drivers to see, but Hunter Abbott's heading straight for it. Now he's spotted it, but there's still, he's driving through, but he's cleared a bit of it. There is a gap in between, there's wheel arch, there's all sorts of bodywork debris, plus rubber debris. And let's hope all the drivers would have passed it once and now seen it. And let's hope that Hunter Abbott hasn't hit any debris that causes any puncture for him, but right now, leading the race. Hunter Abbott by 6.1 seconds. And just looking at the front tyres, the rear tyres, can't see anything going down. But obviously where it is, the drivers can see it from a distance away, but what they can generally see are the innards of that wheel arch. So 6 seconds to the good for Hunter Abbott over Jeffrey Lee. Tim Sugden just 0.68 of a second down. We could have a Mercedes 1-2, and on a circuit that the Group M crew did not think favoured their cars. If Sugden can get past Jeffrey Lee, they're very close at the start of the lap for second place. The 7 Audi hanging on from the 888 Mercedes. Hunter Abbott seems safe in the lead of the race. Devon Modell just had a flash of his Porsche. That's 88. I fancy that's going to start picking its way up. It's got Francisco Guedes Ferrari up ahead of him as he tries to gain another handful of points. There they are, 7th and 8th positions through the Degners. And still you can see spray on the track, even more spray when the drivers go out over the curbs, and Devon Modell decided not to do that, not to take the risk. Still a bit of track between him, track space between him and the curbing, but right now, sensible to stay on the black stuff. Race leader Hunter Abbott been ahead for very nearly 2 laps now. He's coming up behind the D-Station Racing Porsche. That's running somewhat down the order. Blue flag being shown to the driver of the 47 Porsche. That's Satoshi Hoshino. Now, lights flashing from Hunter Abbott. Doesn't have to take a risk. Satoshi Hoshino, thank you very much, sir, keeps out of the way. Back in the GT4 class, it's the 89 car leading the way, Hub Auto Racing. And it's Ida leading that class, Masahiko Ida, sitting on quite a tidy advantage of 14 seconds of Byron Tong. Sorry, it's not, it's George Chu now in second place. Byron Tong slipped down to third. 10 minutes remaining, so it's looking very good for the Hub Auto Racing crew. Jeffrey Lee remains in second place. There he is, going past the debris. Tim Sugden, and the car that's closing on them is Sandy Stuvik, the Thai racer, in the number 66 Vincenzo Sospiri Racing Lamborghini. And Darrell O'Young closing on the pair of them. Catching them in turn is Aidan Reid and Francisco Guedes. Well, Aidan Reid is the driver on the move. Jeffrey Lee hanging on to second place. Tim Sugden still got time to mount the attack. I fancy he's getting a little bit wetter. Drivers will have the best gauge on that. They'll be able to feel how much grip they've got. Certainly no dry line appearing, so they don't have to worry about their wet weather tyres degrading. The Pirelli is obviously good for the full race distance, but of course the drivers will, on a drying circuit, they always have to pay attention to their rain tyres, but it's not drying at the moment, not much of a breeze. Rain still coming down, not terribly heavily, but it's still coming down. But the battle for second place, closing right up. Tim Sugden getting closer and closer to Jeffrey Lee. Sandy Stuvik in fourth place, catching them in the Lamborghini. So we've got Mercedes first, Audi second, Mercedes third, Lamborghini fourth, Porsche fifth, and then another Lamborghini in sixth place. Top Ferrari is Francisco Guedes in seventh place overall. Leader is 4.5 seconds ahead of this battle for second place, but it draws the eye because Tim Sugden, all his early days spent racing in the United Kingdom, he understands what rain is. We're going to assure you of that. Well, it's great news if you're a Group M Racing fan, and Renai is headed down to Group M Racing, and she's down in the pits. The 999 crew leading the way. Down with Renai.
Yes, look, an eventful race. What are conditions like out there?
The start was funny with slick tires on track, then conditions, a bit wet there, a bit wet there. Was fun. I was gaining a lot of time positions. Was cool to fighting for the first position. We decided to stay a bit longer out to figure out what's the best way to do. But in the end, was the right decision to change to wet, because now it's more raining than in the beginning of the race.
It looks really difficult out there. I mean, but you're saying it's fun. What does Hunter have to do now?
No, it's not difficult. It's just fun. It's fun to drive.
I love that.
Also in the beginning, you know, with slick tires, the track is new for me and also these conditions, but I was finding out quite quickly how the best line is in rain. So, or with slick tires in damp conditions, so it was fun, and I like this kind of conditions. So 10 minutes to go. Let's hope for a double victory maybe for us.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Well, you heard him. I mean, it's fun for some.
Yeah, it's fun.
Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you very much, Renai. It's fun when you've got the level of talent that Maxi Goetz has. He was really the star of the opening laps of the race. He moved up from 5th, got up to 3rd, got up to 2nd, and really was a star. Handed over now to this man, Hunter Abbott, who came here leading the championship, and the fact that that's Maxi's first run here at Suzuka shows he can tackle the best tracks with real aplomb. But it was also a masterstroke to stay out as long as they did. They stayed longer than most of their rivals to assess the changing weather conditions. And it's certainly coming their way. Maxi Goetz was a sprint champion, the Blancpain Sprint Series back in 2014, Spa 24 winner. He's won a lot of championships, all the way back to 2003. He was the former BMW ADAC champion, that's the German champion. So a driver of real merit. And certainly Hunter Abbott will appreciate the performance of his third teammate this year. Started with Raffaele Marciello and Maxi Buch, and now looks so another victory can match the one they got in the second race in Thailand, because Maxi Buch came and helped him win, and now it's Maxi Goetz's turn. But it's still Mercedes 1-3. Jeffrey Lee is resisting everything Tim Sugden can throw at him, but let's see him do that the whole way to the finish. But the clock is ticking down, 6 and a bit minutes remaining, 6 and change as we like to call it. So it is 4.7 seconds between first and second, and then just 0.3 of a second back to third place. So it's Mercedes first, Audi second, Mercedes third. And top car in GT4 is in 19th position, and it's still Ida leading the way, Masahiko Ida. And here comes the challenge, but it's not for the lead of the race, but it's actually the car still coming out of the pits. But race leader Hunter Abbott picking his way past the KCMG Audi. It actually picks up a bit of the gravel on the outside. That was a car that went off the track earlier. In fact, at the corner, they're just negotiating now. Went into the gravel trap in the background. You could actually see the marks where it's been pulled out of the gravel, or drove out under its own steam. But race leader 5.1 seconds clear, but the battle is for second place. Will Tim Sugden get past Jeffrey Lee? Should be coming just around the background. There is Jeffrey Lee, then there's a bit of a gap. Oh, now we've had a change, because we've got Sandy Stuvik in the black and yellow Lamborghini has moved ahead of Tim Sugden in the Mercedes. I fancy, as Sugden was trying to hunt down Jeffrey Lee, that Sandy Stuvik got onto his tail, and while Sugden was trying to look forward and backward, made his move. And certainly Sandy Stuvik has his tail right up at this point. He's lapping a second, or half a second a lap faster than the pair ahead of him. He's up into third place now, so Vincenzo Sospiri racing crew will be very happy indeed. Lamborghini haven't had a huge amount of success so far in the Blancpain GT Series Asia, but it looks like it's coming their way. And in the background, another car getting right in on the mix. Darrell Young is now up into 5th place. Aidan Reed was right on his tail in the #1 Lamborghini, and then Francisco Guedes, and then Devon Modell in the second of the Craft Bamboo Racing Porsches. And there at the number 11 Cayman, that's 4th in the GT4 class. But really where it's tightening up is the battle for the minor places in the top 10, effectively between about 6th place and 9th. And one of the cars in that mix is Guedes, Francisco Guedes. There he is in the number 38 Ferrari. Where is Devon Modell looking for the white and black? He's dropped the white and black Porsche. That's a GT4 one, that's the one we've just been looking at. But just behind that should be Devon Modell in the second Craft Bamboo car. But Francisco Guedes really putting on an impressive performance this weekend. I must say, Would you reckon the rain is getting harder? There is, oh, in fact, places appear to have been lost by Craft Bamboo car. In fact, he's just trying to come up through the traffic. Also trying to make its way forward is the number 13 Audi. But that is a lap out of the mix after making a third visit to the pit. But unfortunately for the Milestone Racing crew, showing the performance that the car had, but one visit to the pit's good, two not wonderful, three really awful for your race chances. Devon Modell works his way past. So we'll still be 8th on the start-finish line, but lost ground there to Francisco Guedes' Ferrari. And now the long shot just shows how much worse the conditions are now looking up the straight. Of course, if you've got 3 cars running together, they kick up a bit more spray. But what we had there was really the spray from the previous cars still hanging in the air. Hunter Abbott leading the race, 2 and a bit minutes remaining, 7.7 seconds to the good. Looking for the real scraps, but it's Jeffrey Lee has lost ground on the lap. So we had Sandy Stuvik go up into 2nd place, Jeffrey Lee back to 3rd, Tim Sugden back to 4th, and Darrell O'Young is now closing in, as is Aidan Reid. So Lee, Sugden, O'Young, Reid, very, very close, covered by a second. The cars from 3rd through to 6th places. So we really need to look for the number 7 Audi. It's been in the battles, been in the wars, led the race with Alessio Picariello. But now Jeffrey Lee, who hung on so bravely for so long. Oh, you can see it's really all closing behind. And now we've got Darrell O'Young has gone past Tim Sugden. Looks like Aidan Reid has as well. Yes, there's the number 1 Lamborghini trying to go around the outside. So Sugden, who not so long ago was fighting for second, trying to get 2nd place, has now been shoveled back down to 6th. So it's not over until it's over. So for Tim Sugden, he'd have hoped the race was about 3 minutes shorter than it really is. So the podium finish no longer on. The podium at the moment would be Hunter Abbott in the 999 Mercedes, Sandy Stuvik in the Vincenzo Sospiri Racing Lamborghini, a car that's had a best results so far this season of 8th place. So not just the first podium, but a 2nd place finish. That would really give a huge boost to the 66 crew. And Nicolas Costa can feel proud that he's played a role in that, because that's his first appearance for the team, for the Brazilian racer. Clearly a good start from him, but the driver with the biggest smile, I think, will be Hunter Abbott. He came here with the championship lead. It was very, very tight, 5 points covering the top 3 cars. But now he's starting the final lap in the lead of the race, and the 2 crews that went ahead of him in the championship will be coming away with nothing. 25 points for a win. This puts him right back to the front of the championship, right back into the mix. 7.4 seconds to the good over Sandy Stuvik, so no fears. Don't forget, we had Aditya Patel leading the race, minding his own business, pulling ever further clear in Yodi Racing Audi, and then bang! Left rear tyre exploded, put him out of the race, left all the debris on the downhill start-finish straight, went off the circuits, turns 1 and 2, and then had to pull to the side. In the Group M Racing garage, you can see on the left, Jules Simkoviak looking up, and on the right of the garage with, I think, a big smile of satisfaction, because he certainly deserves the team's applause. Maxi Goertz, he's come, he's seen, and he's conquered. I think he likes Suzuka anyhow, but throw in wet conditions, and he really, really put on a great performance. No extra time penalty for them today. Yesterday they had one to serve in the pits, and that dropped them down to eventual 7th place overall. But for Hunter Abbott, kicking up the spray, will be loving this lap as he negotiates his way down the checkered flag. It's due to come out now, but now, of course, with the race leader going around the hairpin, they'll wait for him to come around at the end of an hour of racing to take another win for the Group M crew. And so far, they've had that win in the 2nd race at Buriram last time out, and barring a meteorite shower, it will be another victory for the crew. And great applause. Oh, what a shame that we lost the OD Racing duo of Mitch Gilbert and Aditya Patel. They'd worked their way to the front and really deserved a really, really good result for such a consistent pairing. But roaring down the back straight, just see how much spray that big Mercedes-Benz AMG kicks up into 130R for the final time at racing speed. Is our winner today, the 6th race, therefore the 2nd race of the 3rd round of the championship. Next stop here in Japan again, 19th and 20th of August at Fuji Speedway. But right now, the clock has come down to 0, and the race has come down to the sharpest point of all. victory, second win of the year for the Group M Racing 999 Mercedes AMG. Applause in the garage. Maxi Goetz with a beard gets the applause in the garage. Jules Simkowiak looks up from the other side of the garage and knows that their possible podium has fallen away because his car, the sister car with Tim Sugden, will finish in 6th place. But for Group M Racing, yeah, a lot of applause, and they truly deserve that. Sandy Stuvik did take second place, 6.9 seconds down, and then came that cluster. And Jeffrey Lee maintained third place for J-Fly Racing Audi crew. Darrell Young, great drive from him to get up to fourth place for Craft Bamboo Racing. Aidan Reed to fifth in his Lamborghini. Tim Sugden back to sixth. That's the top six. Then 1.5 seconds only further back, Francesco Gales. But for Group M Racing, for Maxi Goetz, the smiles, the applause, the handshakes, and the hugs. Wet day here at Suzuka, but a great day. Yesterday, totally different, wonderful, wonderful racing. But today, like yesterday, so much to watch. 28 starters. And you know what? Yesterday, we got to the finish with 26 finishers. And today, we're going to get to the end with a very similar number. We might be down to 25, but considering how wet, greasy, and changing conditions through the course of this 1 hour race, I think some exemplary performances, but we now know the final positions, and it's looking very, very good. Not just victory overall for the 999 crew, but they're also the Pro-Am winners. And just to look down the order, the AM winners at the end of all that was the number 2 Lamborghini crew from FFF Racing Team by ACM. Yu Lin and Junhan Zhu, Chinese pairing, they take victory in their Lamborghini. GT4, right at the end, it was suddenly all changed because we had an extra pit stop for a couple of the runners, and through came the number 17 crew, which is the Taiwan Top Speed Racing Team. Keo Chang started the race, and George Chu on his debut finished it off. So the GT4 order confirmed as well. It was 17 from 10 from 11. But the overall order was 999 at the front to win the Pro-Am class and take overall honours. The top silver crew, Sandy Stuvik. What a great performance for he and Nicholas Costa. And then the second car in Pro-Am. Third car on the track, Jeffrey Lee, the J-Fly Racing Audi. You can see it on the right-hand side of the track. As Hunter Abbott limps back, not limps back, he's just enjoying the moment, cruises back, I think we should say, to the Parc Fermé, having won the race. The rest to catch up, and there were some really noteworthy performances from those closing in behind. So, applause from those who braved the weathers and those who were wise enough to stay high in the grandstands, as the winning car, trailed by those who chased so hard, come in at the end of a very dramatic race. In fact, I've just apologise, I've named the wrong winners in the AM class. 2 places further ahead was the number 75 crew, so victory went to T2 Motorsports, to David Cipto Biantoro from Indonesia and Greg Teo from Singapore. Victory for them, but overall victory going to the 999 Mercedes crew, so plenty of applause for them. Very, very tricky conditions today, always changing. Well done to Hunter Abbott, great helmet livery, like that very much indeed, but he loves that. His championship challenge that faltered yesterday is very much back on track, and I think he owes a lot to Maxi Goetz for such a strong drive in the opening part of the race. He will feel sorry for Aditya Patel and Mitch Gilbert, who'd taken the lead and then had that big blowout on the start-finish straight.
Was not difficult, it was fun.
Maxi Goetz is telling anybody who'll listen down in Parc Fermé, his most repeated word was fun, quite right so. But let's go down to the pits because we're going to hear from the race-winning crews. Plenty of joy down there from Sandy Stuvik and his crew. And that's Nicholas Costa, who's climbing on the roof of the car. There's Sandy Stuvik, who's got out. So quite a debut for Nicholas Costa. But for Hunter Abbott and Maxi Goetz, they take the 25 points. They take the victory. It was a really noteworthy performance. In fact, there were a lot of great performances in the field, and certainly the top group were closing in on those race leaders. So let's go down to Renai, who's down with Hunter Abbott and Maxi Goetz, today's winners.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Easy enough drive? I mean, you said you were having fun out there.
Yeah, I had fun. You?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Suzuka in the wet is amazing. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, telling already, with slick tires in the end condition was really fun. I was finding out the best line quite fast, and I did a good lap time. I created a little gap. We lost a bit during pit stop. We have to analyze that because we lost 4 seconds. We not gained the first place, so I think we deserved it. Okay, the Audi had puncture, but anyway, good finish, good job from the whole team. Good weekend.
So this is your debut in the Blancpain GT Series Asia, but Hunter, you've had a different co-driver each time we've seen you.
Yeah, I have. It's kind of interesting because you turn up and new guy coming in, but all the guys who've got coming in are great guys. Both Maxes, awesome. Raf at the beginning of the season, awesome guy. What we've done so far has been as much down to them as it is to the team and to me as well. It's a whole big group effort.
Great teamwork. Enjoy that win. P1. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Renai. It was a really, really strong pairing, Hunter Abbott, and it is quite something to take on a different teammate each time. But as he said, the calibre of drivers that Mercedes put their way for Group M Racing really give him a great helping hand. But back into the lead of the championship, they go. 5 races, 5 winners. Now we have Hunter Abbott taking a second win, but a 6th different winner, if you will, in terms of Maxi Götz joining the show. Great driver who really clearly loved the challenge that Suzuka throws up towards them. But a drive that almost went unnoticed until the final 5 or 6 laps was the 66 Lamborghini crew, and that is a really, really strong crew. Sandy Stuvik finished the job started by Nicholas Costa, and they will be very, very happy when they get to speak down in the pit lane with our person there, Renai.
Congratulations. What did it feel like to come across that line?
It felt amazing. You know, I wasn't really sure what position we were until the last lap, and they came on the radio and told me. But I just tried to push as hard as I could. I'm really thankful for the rain, that it came down a bit harder towards the end because my tires were starting to go off. But anyway, just great race, great car. So we need more wet races to do well.
It's got to feel good to be on the podium in your first race here.
It feels unbelievable because honestly, I was called to this race for 5 days before the event. I was in Brazil, had to travel across the world. Never been in this car, so I was already amazed of our personal pace because we were the fastest Lamborghini basically all weekend. But especially starting 14th, I didn't expect to be on the podium. Feels amazing. I mean, it's such a big emotion I can't even describe. So, yeah.
Congratulations. Here is Suzuka. Great memories going home with you. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you very much, Renai. That's quite a story, isn't it? Not just 14th to 1st, but the fact that Nicholas Costa has never driven a Lamborghini before. He comes here. But Sandy Stuvik was the absolute star of that crew. As he said, a few more laps, his tyres might not have laughed, but he worked his way very quickly to the end in those final few laps, up into 2nd place. Nearly 7 seconds down on race-winning car, but a great, great drive to get his way through the pack. And then the 3rd place crew, Alessio Picariello, started the race from pole position, but conditions kept on changing. He had a few motes of his own. But let's go down to hear from Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. Down with Renai.
Thank you. On the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
How was your drive?
Actually, it was tense because this kind of condition always makes you more nervous and actually also more focused. So I guess, yeah, that's why we just don't make any mistake, and then we're there.
You're going to be happy to be finishing on the podium. I know you started in pole, but a difficult race for many, many drivers.
Well, I mean, yeah, with the Pro-Am, you know, against the Silver, it's difficult to be on podium overall. So my goal was to finish 3rd overall would be the best, and that's what we did. I had a really difficult stint, but I could keep the lead, and then Jeffrey did a really good job with rain tires, keeping everybody behind, and he had also a good pace. So really good race for us. I feel sorry though for my teammates Audi Racing, but yeah, this one is ours now.
Enjoy that. The champagne's coming. All right, back to you, Bruce.
Thanks, Renai. And I think Alessio Picariello, great drive, but Jeffrey Lee, I think, really came of age. Look, he kept a whole host of more experienced drivers behind him and didn't really get dropped. There he is in 3rd place overall, just ahead of Peter Lee and Darrell O'Young, Aidan Reed and DeFalco finishing 5th. So the Lamborghinis came good in the wet. Tim Sugden and Jules Simkowiak within touching distance of a podium, but it went away from them, ended up 6th at the end. But what a race. I need to chew over that one. So much to see. And just to point out again, victory in GT4 went to the number 17 crew. But where to start with a race like that? It was action from the very start of the race. And I think what we're going to do now is take you through the highlights. An hour of racing and so much action. Rain falling, fans were wise to bring their umbrellas today. They looked at the weather forecast. Championship leaders after yesterday's win, Marchi Lee and Sean Thong, waiting for the start, but Alessio Picariello, the silver and blue Audi, kept in the lead of the race as he was challenged by Frankie Cheng in the blue Audi behind Mitch Gilbert on the outside, holding third position. And Maxi Goertz in the Mercedes, fifth through the opening corner, but very soon he moved up. There was a mistake from Picariello in the lead of the race. I thought he might come back across and take out the cars behind Marchi Lee. Wasn't quite sure where to look, but the driver on the move in the early half of the race was Maxi Goertz. Look, out of the S's, and he has the grip, the grunt, and the bravado to go around the outside. Not everybody kept it on the track, and one of the newcomers this weekend, ARN Ferrari, the puncture leading to all sorts of problems. And then it got tighter and tighter at the front of the race. The J-Fly Audi staying just ahead before the pit stops the 999 Mercedes. Aditya Patel and Mitch Gilbert right in the mix. They started on the outside of the front row, slick tyres off, treaded tyres on for the charge to the finish. But better than that, it became a charge to the front of the field. In came Alessio Picariello from the lead of the race. Hopped out of the car, seat insert in hand. Jeffrey Lee looked to take over, but once on the track again, the driver on the move was Mitch Gilbert's second driver, his teammate Aditya Patel. Then he got passed by the 999 Hunter Abbott driven Mercedes at this point in the race, but they kept swapping back and forth between them. The Audi went ahead, but then suddenly bodywork rubbing because he'd already had a puncture. Then it blew, wheel arch inserts flashed across the track. The Mercedes trying to snake through the debris, bits falling off the Audi. Victory was theirs to be had, but what a cruel stroke of fortune for them, and into the lead for good goes the crew. Mitch Gilbert having to reach for the dictionary, the thesaurus, that was theirs to lose. Big concern as the race-leading Mercedes came back round the end of the next lap, found the debris, clipped a bit of it, but luckily not sharp enough to give them a puncture. Then Jeffrey Lee doing his utmost to keep second place. He worked so hard. It wasn't to be, but it was victory for the race-leading 999. And certainly Hunter Abbott and Maxi Goertz really deserve the applause. In the background, suddenly you can see it's a Lamborghini in second place. Came through in the closing moments for Sandy Stuvik and Nicholas Costa, but the job was done. The 25 points to the Group M Racing crew. And for he and Hunter Abbott, great, great moments. They'll always remember any victory is good, but one at Suzuka is super special. So the podium, we're ready for the big celebrations. We have 4 podiums and it gets very busy, and I think we're going to see some very, very satisfied drivers coming up there, particularly those who were nowhere near the podium in the closing few laps, but came really good at the end.
GT Series Asia at Suzuka. We'll start this ceremony with the overall winners. We welcome with applause in third place in car number 7, Jeffrey Lee and Alessio
So
Picariello.
this is the overall podium, being called up into third place overall, second in the Pro-Am class. Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. Alessio started from pole, but I really think that was the best race I've ever seen from Jeffrey Lee. Really, really coming good in the Blancpain GT Series Asia. Nicholas Costa, Sandy Stuvik coming out in second place.
And in first place in car number 999, Hunter Abbott and Maxi Goertz.
And our winners, Maxi Goertz, he's made an impact in this championship. Hunter Abbott, that's his second win this year, but for Group M Racing and Mercedes, they didn't reckon their car suited the circuit, but once it got wet, it most certainly did. And with conditions changing all the time, any of those drivers on the podium will know how close they could have come to disaster. Certainly Alessio Picariello was out over the curbs several times, but his car control is phenomenal. Kept it on the island, and there they are with the trophies for third place. Everything being presented here by Ernesto Garcia Domingo, Pirelli Motorsport Business Director. And the first place trophies to Hunter Abbott and to Maxi Goertz atop the podium. They were also the winners in the Pro-Am class, because the Pro is Maxi Goertz and the Am is Hunter Abbott. So it's been the most phenomenal couple of races here on the Blancpain GT Series Asia's first visit to Suzuka. Yesterday we had victory going by really quite a big margin to the Audi Hong Kong crew of Marchi Lee and Sean Thong in their Audi R8. That put them up into the lead of the championship coming into today. But they failed to score any points this afternoon, well, early afternoon. here at Suzuka, but the championship pendulum has swung the other way. Now Hunter Abbott atop the podium is back in the lead of the championship. Next stop will be Fuji, the 19th and 20th of August. We've really enjoyed our time here at Suzuka. So from me, Bruce Jones, and all of the crew, we really look forward, as the rain comes down, to the next race. And you know what? A little bit of rain coming in late will mix it up. So it's goodbye from us. Enjoy the next race. Of Rui Aguas, but they've combined very well in their Ferrari. Back out again for another trophy and another check come Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello, third overall but second in the Pro-Am class, and overall winners. And back to the top step, please welcome Maxi Goetz with a beard and Hunter Abbott without.
We now invite Ernesto Garcia Domingo, Pirelli Motorsport Business Director.
And back out again is Pirelli's Motorsport Business Director to present the trophies, Ernesto Garcia Domingo. And I think we can safely say this championship continues to provide a wonderful mix of racing. GT3 runners, GT4 runners, and I think it's going to be a huge growth area. This weekend is pretty much the 25th anniversary of the formation of SRO, the group that puts all these Blancpain GT Series races together. They can be delighted with the growth under Stefan Rattel over 25 years, but just to see the mix of cars and drivers out here in the Blancpain GT Series Asia up on the podium, and the pleasure and the professionalism, I think they will be very proud indeed. Of course, this weekend very busy for the SRO group because they've just had the 6 hours at Blancpain endurance round at Paul Ricard last night. That looked very spectacular indeed, but I think we provided our own spectacle here at Suzuka. It's been truly wonderful fun. But also, how can you come to Suzuka, such a brilliant race circuit, and not go away with a great deal of pride and pleasure in all that's gone on?
Thank you, gentlemen. Up next will be the GT.
So 2 more podium presentations to come out. We have the overall podium, we've had that, the Pro-Am podium. Then we move down to the Am podium, which is for 2 drivers of bronze category ranking. And then we'll have the GT4 runners, and we'll see the best 3 of the 5 starters in that class. But watch out for next year. GT4 will grow and grow in this championship. A few battered and tattered cars being brought back in, but it was a very clean race, except for poor Max Wieser, who was given a bit of a thump on the opening lap and pitched off. And now in the Am class is the crew that should...
In second place, car number 75, David Giacobiantoro and Gregory Tio.
Coming back out, Tio and Giacobiantoro.
And your winners.
Good grief, I failed to see the race winner, the class winners, up in 10th place. I wasn't looking that high. Andrew Harrianto and Samson Chan, they won the class yesterday. I wasn't looking that high up. They moved in the final few laps up so many positions that I thought victory had gone to the car in second place, so apologies for that. So to present is Susumu Yamashita, President, Mobility and Corporation at the Suzuka circuit. Present it to Junhan Zhu and Yu Lin, who finished third in class. They were running the number 2 Lamborghini from FFF Racing by ACM. 75 crew taking second place. They look pretty pleased with that. And then a double win this weekend for the 27 crew of Harrianto and his new teammate Samson Chan, so that they're very happy in their new pairing.
Now champagne.
They're wet enough already after a race that provides plenty of action. It so often is the case the driver who is enjoying victory gets an earful of champagne. And for Samson Chan and Andrew Harrianto, they've enjoyed their action. They don't mind getting a soaking, quite frankly. So there is the final finishing positions with our AM winners down in 10th place. Apologies for not picking them out. Hunter Abbott, Maxi Goetz, victory by nearly 7 seconds from Sandy Stuvik and Nicholas Costa. Jeffrey Lee, what a great drive to third, showing with Alessio Picariello. And Darrell Young came really good at the end of the race, got up into 4th place, sharing with Peter Lee, just ahead of Aidan Reid, who came up at the end to 5th place. So, wonderful scenic place at Suzuka, great environment, brilliant racing circuit, and all the drivers from the front of the field to the back enjoying the venue, the racing, the action that it always provides. 3rd place, the number 11 crew, which is Terence C and Tony Fong. 2nd place in class, Byron Tong in the number 10 EKS Motorsport, showing with Eric Lowe. But the winners today, totally different to yesterday, go to the number 17 crew, and that is TTR Team Sard, Tony Fong and Terence C. And again, we call on Susumu Yamashita from the Suzuka circuit to present the trophies. So smiles all round for the GT4 runners, and it's great that they get the checks, they get the trophies, they get the champagne, but really in this class it's all about the honour. And today that honour went to the crew from TTR Team Sard, such a famous team, Tony Fong and Terence C, the little white and orange Porsche Cayman. And this is where the drivers get caught out. They don't have enough hands for trophy, for check, and for champagne. But I'm sure they'll give it a good old go. So there we are, 2 races here at Suzuka. And let's have another look after 2 action-packed races at the highlights of race number 2, the wet one.
some great highlights from today's race, and what an eventful race we've had here in Suzuka in Japan. It's definitely made a mark on all of the drivers here. This championship is officially halfway through the series. This season is going on to Fuji next. We can't wait to see you there. On behalf of myself and all of the team, bye-bye.